excited to see Dak Prescott back on the field starting on Sunday. He declares himself going to be the starter against the Detroit Lions. Newy
was out there. We were out the start today. So, yeah. Newy, you got a chance to talk to Dak a little bit.
You know what? When Dak talked, I had to go hit my podcast. So
yeah, he was a late arrival.
Yeah. So I got CD in, Zeke Elliott in, and then I went and talked to Jake Ferguson. And then I felt bad because I saw Jalen Tolbert. It's like nobody cared. Then I went in the locker room and nobody was laughing.
Shots fired.
And I was like, man, should I go talk to him? I'm like, no, I'm going to go talk to Jake Ferguson, man.
That's a bad day when the third-round wide receiver can't get no play, and you go talk to the rookie tight end. That's a sad day, boy.
He's playing.
And not only that, look, I wound up talking to him, too. I'm going to have him on the player profile for the pregame show. Dude had that Euro step touchdown, so we had to get into that. Did you ask him about that too, Newy?
No, actually, you know what? I was asking him. I said, "Hey, man, who's going to get the Wisconsin job?" I said, "I know you know a guy over there, because he does know a guy." Barry Alvarez is his grandfather, so Barry is Wisconsin football. So, so I was trying to check in with him on that kind of deal over there. But
he's good people, though. Yeah, he's good people.
Hey, look, man, and we've all covered some of these Cowboy teams recently where the locker rooms. This is a good locker room of guys. They got some good people over there. So, but I was feeling bad for Jalen Tolbert. I was like, oh man, training camp people trying to holler at you, talk to you now. It's like,
and all the media just walk by. That's got to be a sad feeling for a player, knowing like, hey, they don't want to talk to me today, or they just probably just ready to go home anyway. After
can we talk to Turpin? Looking for Turpin,
Let's go talk to the kick returner, the punt returner, instead of the third round wide receiver.
Dude, think about it. What you gonna ask? Hey, you gonna play this week?
You're right. I mean, the only question that you can ask him this week is, hey, you gonna play this week? You gonna get out there?
Think you playing this week? Not this week, I mean, hey, what's going on, brother? Bro, you was all Oxnard, man. Now you just ERW, E-Ride warm up, that guy.
Yeah, wow. Knew we got all the jokes on this Thursday evening right here on 105 through the Fan. But for you, though, having the knowledge that Dak Prescott is returning, what does his return ultimately mean now for this team based on what they've been through to get to this point now to see him return?
Hopefully score some points.
Oh, really?
And if this defense is going to hold people under 20 points, I go back to the old Tampa Bay defense that Warren Sapp was on. It's like, hey, man, score 20 points and win the game. That's what he's all asked for his offense. Can you give me 20? We'll do our part to hold them down. So I almost feel like for the Cowboys, hey, if you can put up 20, 24 points a game, you should be able to win most of these games the way the defense is playing here. And you just go back to the game against Philadelphia. You have 3 interceptions. And then when McCarthy went for it, where he was at, it was basically a turnover. So it was like four turnovers. You gave Philly, the 3 touchdowns they had, they were all short on the short. They weren't long drives. So
right.
They play good football, help out their defense, and Dak Prescott's got that ability to do more than Cooper Rush. This is a winning. It's a winning formula. And I asked Ezekiel Elliott, you want to see the team continue to run the ball the way you have when Dak gets back? And he says yes. And I just am of the belief that that's what you should do. I don't want to see Dak throwing it 40 times a game. If it starts to get over 32 passes in a game, I'm starting to wonder, like, hey, what are we really doing here? You've got a formula that works. Protect your defense. 34 minutes and 30 seconds is what the defense was on the field for against Philadelphia. You can't have that.
No.
You've got to protect your defense, and one way to protect them is by running the football. If you can run the football, establish yourself there, then you've got that ability for play-action passing, or you've got the ability to have more effective RPOs. And so that, to me, is what I think Dak Prescott could bring to this football team and can help make it better.
Did you talk to anybody or get the sense that the defense – now, everybody was mad that they lost the game. And Dan Quinn, of course, he was PO'd. He was really upset because he knows there's some things they could have done. But they don't seem like they were frustrated by that loss. It seemed like they knew what they needed to do and they could fix a couple of things. And Detroit might be the remedy. What's your take on how the defense feeling after giving up 3 touchdowns in one game when they were only giving up 1 a game?
That Philly was confident in barking so much about things. I think that bugged them. And you saw Philly's coach, run into the locker room to how about them Eagles? And I'm thinking, okay. You beat Cooper
What a
Rush,
herb, by the way.
backup quarterback.
I gotta say that. What a herb Nick Sirianni is, by the way, for that. Like,
He's
come
goofy,
on, bro.
man. I call him Coach Goofy.
Like, you goofy
showing
for
up
that.
with a Beat Dallas T-shirt on, then you want to wear a Allen Iverson jersey, Dr. J jersey, like dude. He's like, you want these people in Philadelphia to really love you. Like, look, I love Philly sports. I really love, like, hey, man, just be you, man. Just be, you don't have to play these games, man. It's like, come on, man. And I think maybe the city forces guys to do that. Like, hey, man, I guess I better put this hat on, act like I really love Philly sports. I'm afraid they're gonna boo me. I mean, dude, if you
go run up the stairs like Rocky, just
right. But he's really goofy like that. Like, hey, man, I got this shirt on. Look at this shirt, man, and this represents the defense. And this is what young coaches do because you really want to be liked. Man, just do your job, man. Go coach, and you're gonna be okay. But I think he's goofy, man. I do. I think he's goofy. But I give him credit. They've given him talent, and so far he's made the most of it. And I credit him for taking advantage of what Jalen Hurts does well. Too many times you got these coordinators, this is my system, this is what I do, versus looking at the player and saying, hey, what does the player do best, and let's try to fit it around that player.
NBC5 Sports Director Newy Scruggs joining us on the Get Right with Reggie KG on 105 through the Fan. Let's turn our attention fully to Sunday then. The Detroit Lions are pretty much bad at everything except for running the football. How did the Cowboys avoid looking ahead or being complacent, or is that even a thing given what happened to them on Sunday night that shouldn't even be a concern going into Sunday afternoon?
You're in third place. About that. What more motivation do you want than that? You're in third place right now.
Yep.
So you've got work to do. The team in front of you is undefeated. The other team in front of you's got one loss, and you gave it to them. But still, you're in third place. So I would like to think that's all the motivation you need. But and this is where I'll give Mike McCarthy a lot of credit. Is I don't see this team looking past anyone. I think they have a good understanding of the mission. But Dak Prescott's not overlooking it. Dak Prescott's ready to go. So when you have a leader like that who's ready to go or ready to go out and do his thing, I think everyone else will follow. But they're just not good enough to not take anyone serious. And in this league, go back to last year, Cowboys riding high, feeling good, 6-game win streak. Here comes the Broncos, crack. And so what's that saying? You mess around, you mess around and find out.
Yeah, F around, F around and find out.
Fool around and find out.
Yeah, fool around.
I don't think you want to fool around with the Lions. Go ahead and handle your business. These next two games, really got an opportunity to go into the bye week and try and get yourself to 6-2 with a bye week. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do that, that you're not taking advantage of the schedule, you're not taking advantage of the fact that you have more talent than both of these football teams. I mean, that's just being straight up, not being a homer. The Cowboys have more talent than Detroit and Chicago. These are winnable games. Go get the winnable game.
Speaking of the schedule, and I'm not like looking down the schedule and projecting the Cowboys to win the division or to go to the playoffs automatically, but I'm looking at the NFC, and Kevin and I were talking about this earlier before we got on the air. The NFC is more wide open than we thought before the season started. It's like, wait a minute, Green Bay ain't quite formidable like they usually are. Tampa Bay's not running away with anything. The Rams are having a Super Bowl hangover. It's like it's kind of there if you are good enough to stack that flow.
I picked Minnesota to win the division. I had Green Bay missing the playoffs. Just preseason. That was my thing.
Good looking out.
I just thought the receiving core, like, you can't win with these guys. Look, Aaron Rodgers, he's a quarterback. He's not a magician. You need a magician to sit around here and make these guys, these receivers, look good. It's just, they're just not good enough. And as far as a run game goes, I don't think they lean enough on the run. And maybe that's because they feel like Aaron Rodgers can carry him. And I hear a lot of criticism of Aaron Rodgers, and I just want to shake my head and say, folks, I'm sorry. It's not the carpenter, it's the carpenter's tools. You can only do so much with what you have. I mean, I'm sorry. Alan Lazard has never been a guy that you looked at and say, hey, man, I think this guy's really good. He has something. He's not. And so you're trying to win with that, and I'm sorry, it's just not good. And you taking the fact that your head coach makes some goofy decisions. I don't think they're a well-coached team. They don't put an emphasis on special teams, so just not real big on the Packers. Yes, the Super Bowl hangover is real, and with the Rams. They also, at that point in time, they don't have any money. You don't have the talent base that you had before. You don't have the money. So that's brought them back to the pack here. And Tampa Bay had the coaching change, and they've got offensive line issues, and there's other stuff going on with 12. So you look at this NFC, the Cowboys can be contenders. They can be. I'm not ready to go there yet.
Yeah.
I think it's still too early, but can you? Yeah. They've got to go out here and keep putting in the work. And as Jason Garrett talked about, stacking up wins. Stack up some wins and see where you're at. But I would, if you're looking around there, you just say, hey, can we compete here? Yeah, I think Leighton Vander Esch is on to something when he talks about what they could do, what they could be this year, and hopefully they take advantage of the window that they did not take advantage of last year.
Newy, I'm a man of the people, and the people want me to ask you about how you feel about the Mavs season going into this year.
Mavs will be fine. I kind of agree with what Jason Kidd told me during media day. You want to tamp down the expectations a little bit. You don't get to just pick up where you started off last year. You're in Western Conference Finals. Oh, we should be right back there. No, you got to go play the season. You've got to go play the season, and I'll be interested to see exactly what happens at the trade deadline. I mean, every year in this league now, we're seeing teams, decide, okay, we don't like this particular contract. Let's move on. The player says, I want to move on, and we're seeing folks get moved here. He's like Russell Westbrook. I mean, dude, he ain't gonna last there in L.A.
No.
That's not gonna make it work, No. And it's a large contract. It's a large contract. Hey, folks, they move large contracts all the time. Porzingis got moved from Dallas. John Wall got moved.
Hey, Harden got moved. Twice.
Right. Yeah, so we'll see some things happen here, and I'll just be interested to see what the Mavericks might be able to be in a position to do. I never saw Donovan Mitchell get moved to Cleveland, so we just don't know. And I'm studying in this accounting class. I'm starting tomorrow over at TCU to talk about opportunity costs. So that's going to be something that's pretty interesting. What could the opportunity cost be for the Mavericks? Because I just think that the NBA is constantly moving. I mean, it's fluid. It's so fluid that what you have, October 19, October 20 is not going to be what you end up with come mid-February. Things are going to change. So let's just see how the Mavs go. Let's see how this Western Conference goes, and go from there. I mean, it's just so I'm just optimistic. I'm optimistic, and you're hoping for the best. But if they're not back in the Western Conference Finals, I'm not going to sit there and say, they're horrible or terrible. I mean, right now it's a challenge, and by the way, you need some breaks to go your way, and the Mavs got the breaks. You're able to beat Phoenix in a Game 7 last year. It's just you like to see them keep moving up and continue to grow, but it's just not that simple the way fans want it to be. Oh, this is going to be the next step, and you're going to go next year here. We just don't know. The league just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dirk says. The league don't work that way.
Yeah.
You don't take a next step to the next level just the next year. It don't work like that.
Correct.
He's a 10-time Emmy winner. He is the NBC5 sports director, and you can catch his hot takes on the Players Lounge and on Media Mash most days on DallasCowboys.com radio. He is, of course, Newy Scruggs. Newy, good to hear from you, my man. I'm going to be seeing you this weekend, man.
All right, fellas. Take care. Be well. Let me get into this managerial accounting book here.
Yeah, them numbers, man. Don't mess up the numbers.
All right, man.